Welcome everyone, this is Zozo Stockwatch, and this is your stock watch list for Wednesday, July 26th. Before we get into the watch list, let's go ahead and look at some of the markets. The Dow pushed up today, was up over 100 points. Some good earnings coming out. McDonald's was one of them, and so the earnings parade continues, and a lot of companies are beating, and so the Dow and the markets are moving up. Take a look at the SPY. As you can see, we traded about 55 million shares in the SPY today, so you know the volume is summer volume, but we are moving up. We're holding the 5 EMA on the SPY, and all the moving averages are turning up. Even the 200 SMA continues to turn up, so the markets are very strong. Let's go ahead and look at the IWC, which is the micro caps, and that's up near resistance but trying to push up through. As you can see, we've spoken about that $90 area, and we are starting to get above it. IWM, we're way above that resistance now at 144.05, so nice push up and breakout on the IWM. That's the Russell 2000. IYT, still a little bit of suspiciousness going on here. We are back above the 5 EMA, but we hit the 13 and we got sold off of that 172 spot on the transports. So you want to see more strength in the transports, but right now we're just not getting it. As far as IBB, we had made a big move on the IBB. We broke out and we pushed up, and now we've pulled back to the 5 EMA. So I guess that was kind of to be expected, a big push up and then some profit taking in the IBB, and the XBI basically did the same thing and pulling back, but still holding above the 10 SMA, still holding the 5 EMA, which is this white dotted line. Next up, we'll take a look at the XLF, and you see we gapped up. We spoke about this in yesterday's video on the XLF, how it was going to try and break out over this consolidation, and we did do that, and we were actually holding above 25 for the first time in a long time. So XLF showing strength. KRE, which is your regional banks, also did the same thing, popped out of that congestion, so we'll see if they want to have a continuation in that. XRT, which is the retailers, got a nice pop today on big volume, so the retailers made somewhat of a comeback, but they still have work to do, and they have that $41 on the XRT area. That's was support and now is resistance. Next up, we'll take a look at USO. All right, and we had a nice pop in the USO, plus 3% on that, and XOIL, which is light sweet crude WTI, and that also pushed up over 3% today. So oil making a nice comeback, and so we have some oil stocks on watch for tomorrow. So here are your overnight futures. The Dow Futures are up about 6.5, the S&P Futures up 0.5, and the NASDAQ Futures down, we'll call it 1. And this is early in the evening. It's 7:30 my time, and so that's still early for the futures, but you can see they're basically flat to up. For your economic information for Wednesday, we have the big thing coming out tomorrow is the 2 p.m. FOMC meeting announcement. Will they raise rates again? So that's the question. I don't think people are leaning towards the Fed raising rates and announcing it tomorrow. Other than that, we have 7 a.m. MBA mortgage applications, 10 o'clock new home sales, EIA petroleum oil status report, and that's at 10:30. And that's pretty much for your economic information. But the 2 p.m. FOMC meeting will definitely be watched. So that's your economic information for tomorrow. After the bell tonight, we had some news, and we'll go ahead and go through that. Let me set this up for you. The earnings that came out after the bell, we had TXN earnings per share and revenue beat. Amgen had an earnings per share and revenue beat, and they guiding higher. ESRX earnings per share beat. Acme earnings per share and revenue beat. CSL same, they beat, miss on revenues, earnings per share miss and revenue beat. WRB, earnings per share and revenue beat. Shutterfly, earnings per share miss. CMG, Chipotle, earnings per share beat, revenue miss. RGLS announces completion of public offering. HA, earnings per share beat, revenue miss. WIN, earnings per share beat, revenue beat. CMG was higher in after hours. USAT, US Technologies, announces closing of public offering. iRobot talked that SoftBank took a stake in the name IRBT. WIN was down in after hours. Amgen was down after hours from their pop when they drove it up, and then they pulled it back on Amgen. ETRM, Enteromedics, enters into collaboration agreement with Bioelectronics Limited. So ETRM, news after the bell. Juniper had earnings after the bell. AMD, big pop after the bell on earnings per share and revenue beat by Advanced Micro Devices. US Steel X, earnings per share and revenue beat. And I'm looking to see if there was anything else. APRN, Blue Apron, announces changes in executive leadership team, so they're changing their executives. Next up, we have some filings. APO Form 4, 10% owner, Tiger Global. TTS Form 4, CEO purchased 9,000 shares. TTS Form 4, director purchased 14,000 shares at 1401. Acme, AKAM, lowers guidance. And let's see, insider purchases. GE director purchased over 27,000 shares, 2550. GE director purchased 10,000 shares at 2580. And some of your earnings coming out for tomorrow. You see them listed right here. All right, and that's in the blue, and I'll pause this, and then some earnings after Wednesday's close, and they're listed here. So you see the earnings rush continues. You know, just keep that in mind. And then here's your earnings conference calls for Wednesday, July 26th. These are your morning conference calls, and then you have your evening conference calls. So a lot of earnings going on for tomorrow. So I'll go ahead and just show you some of the action that happened after the bell. Here's WIN, WYNN. They reported earnings. You see the pop and then the drop. Amgen, same thing, popped and then was sold off. CMG popped and then kind of leveled out here on CMG. This is a pre and post market chart. AMD was the big winner after hours, and you know, shorts got clobbered in this, and just basically pushed continuation in AMD. So good for them. And Acme, AKAM, was another name that came out, popped, and then dropped off and leveled off. So there's a few of your earnings after the bell and the reaction to them. After the bell around 4:30, the API numbers came out for crude oil, and it was a drawdown of over 10 million barrels. So that pushed the USO up higher in the after hours. So we're going to see a few oil stocks on my watch list for tomorrow, and if oil keeps moving up, we might get some nice plays in these oil names. So I'll go ahead and get right into the watch list now. First one up is going to be ATW, and you see the volume that came in today, almost 9 million shares traded, and so I think if this can take out the highs, the 837, 840 spot, we may get a continuation, especially if oil continues moving up. Some banks that I'm going to be watching tomorrow is Bank America and Citibank. So you see the gap ups in these names, and then I'll watch for a play for swing trades. And yesterday, like I said, we spoke about the XLF and we popped up. So I'll have a few banks on watch. Make sure, I think these had their earnings releases already on the banks. That was last week. But, names like Zion, I think they report this week. But Zion looks interesting. Over 3 million shares traded. HBAN is another bank that you may want to have on watch. Regional bank, so big volume came into some of these banks. HBAN over 1350 might continue up, so that one might be interesting. Some other stocks that I'll have on watch. We see the big pop here in CFMS, and that had volume of 1.8 million shares traded. I'll let this set up intraday. Maybe we get like a red to green move or some kind of pullback intraday. CGEN, nice pop, over 400,000 shares traded. Biotech name, and same thing, let this one set up intraday, basically for trading only. CVE, this is an oil name coming up to the 50 SMA, so it looks like if we can get over that 807 spot, the 50 SMA, we could get a continuation move. If you want to try it earlier, any break. So CVE will be one that I'll be watching tomorrow. ECYT, looking for a continuation move in this name. 1.2 million shares traded. We had a high on the name of $1.55, so looking for a $1.55 break. ETRM, mentioned this one, and here was the reaction after hours that had news, the collaboration. So this one will be on watch tomorrow. GMED, nice chart setting up here. We held the 50 SMA, $32 held. We're pushing up, so we'll see if this can set up over 33.38 was the high, so 33.40, or some type of pullback maybe to 32.90 in that area. GNCA, nice volume, nice continuation. Looking for maybe a continuation move in this. Pullback and then a continuation, so keep that one on watch. IBN, this is a regional bank, and setting up nicely here. Almost 15 million shares traded, so keep an eye on this one for a continuation move on IBN. IDRA, looking for this one to continue through the highs. The high today was 212, so I'm looking for that 212 break. 2.4 million shares traded. IDXG, let me open this chart. It's fry pan bottom basically, trying to get back and hold above $1, and the high today was 106. Couldn't get over that 106 spot, so I think if it does, you might get a continuation move. IPWR, looking for a continuation in this name. Just be aware that we have the 200 SMA up above, but this kind of reminds me of that XGTI. It was in the same setup and then they gapped it up, so watch it over 290, 285, somewhere in there. JP Morgan, another bank, just because the XLF popped today. KO, if you like to play the bigger names and the old stodgy names, but this one is the daily's shaping up. It's holding above the 50. It's turning back up. 14 million shares traded. Pays a nice dividend, so I don't think you can go wrong with KO here. At least you have a tight stop, basically a break of 44.50. Next one up is LUV, or pick your poison in the airlines. Here's DAL, UAL. All getting clobbered, so I'm thinking maybe bounce watch on some of these names. We'll take a look at Jetblue, which had earnings today, and this one is the strongest out of all of them right now. And ALK, so they're all pretty much on this organized pullback here. Here's ALK down here at the 200 and trying to turn back up. So just keep your eye on some, and pick an airline, for a bounce. Maybe it happens tomorrow. Macy's, this one turning up back above the 50 SMA, 7 million shares traded in the name. 2279 was the 50 SMA that we finally breached over. The high today was 2369, so maybe over 2375 if you want to maybe take a look at Macy's. Remember Hertz was really shabby looking and finally got over the 50 SMA, and look at this big move in Hertz. And I think I heard Kramer saying, he thinks like Macy's has bottomed. So, it looks like it has bottomed to me. At least, maybe it could bounce up to the 100 SMA on Macy's. Or if you don't like that one, you can pick your poison here. JWN. This one popped today. And like we said, the XRT also moved up. There's L brands if you're into Victoria's Secret, and that one got some volume today too. I happened to play TJX today, and it gave us a nice push up today on TJX, so maybe that gives you continuation. JD, another one that I played today. This one was really nice. Walmart shaping up back over the 50 SMA. So take a look at a retailer, pick the one that you like best, but I think retailers, may be starting to turn around. So maybe less famous words, but take a look at some of those. MBRX, looking for this 235 break on the name on MBRX, 5 million shares traded in the name. NTNX holding the 10 SMA, and we're looking for that $24 break on NTNX to maybe continue up. So that one looks interesting. PDLI, this is an oil name. And let me go ahead and shrink this chart a little bit. Looking for over that $2.50 break on PDLI. Excuse me, this is a biotech name. Sorry, I was thinking of a different oil stock. So this is a biotech stock, excuse me. So looking for that 250 break on PDLI. SALT, out of the shippers, this one looks the best. It's actually above the 100 SMA. The high today was 775. So if it can clear that 775. GNK was looking okay, but it couldn't break above this $11 spot. So, see what they want to do. GNK and SALT look the best to me. Snap, just watching this one maybe for a recovery bounce. Maybe if we get that whoosh down. Today was what, 15 million shares traded. So, I think watch this one for a potential bounce around, 10:30, 11 o'clock or so. Don't write that down, those times, but, might bounce on Snap. SRRA, this one had real strength into the close. The $1.50 is up ahead. You see, $1.55-ish, yeah, $1.56-ish has been resistance in SRRA. So just keep that in mind, but strong close on that name. Tier, we pushed up, now we're pulling back, but we are holding this 5 EMA, we're holding this 250 level, 1.7 million shares traded today. And, I traded this, it got up over 3, and I got the continuation move. I thought it was going to go higher, but I only got a little bit of a move out of Tier, TEAR. So this one will be on watch. TEUM. Big pops here, but I'm starting to lose interest. The volume's kind of drying up, and it is holding the 13 EMA. So it's a so-so stock. We'll see. TRN, more of a swing type of stock. Looking for it to take out this 2850 on the name, and you see 1.7 million shares. So maybe a nice swing trade if it can get over that 2850 spot. Wix, WIX, this one trying to get above 76. We have a high here on June 26th of 77.40. So if this can get back over, say, the high today was 76.30, so we'll call it 76.25. Maybe Wix will get interesting. WLL, full disclosure, I'm already in this name, and I called it over 511. I took some off already up near like 530, but I do have a small position. 35 million shares traded. So if oil's gonna go, and it's up here at 540 in the after hours, so good for me. So keep your eye on an oil name, and if you're looking for another oil name, OAS might be interesting. CLR is another name. APA, pick your poison here in the oil names. APC is another oil name, and Let's see how some of the drill service sector, Schlumberger, Halliburton, not so much. Rig looks interesting if it could get back over 9. So that's some of your oil stocks, and I think there's what, NBL also. So this one looks interesting, and NOV also, you know, not as nice. I like NBL better, as it's clearing the 50 SMA, 3.5 million shares. So this has been your stock watch and your market report for July 26th. Good trading out there. This is Zozo Stock Watch. If you like these videos and they're helping you out, please hit the subscribe button. Please hit the like button. Throw them out there on social media. And also, I don't know if you've noticed, I've been doing a morning market report. That's usually out after 8 a.m. Eastern time. So, you know, you should get that delivered to your mailbox if you're subscribed to my channel. And thank you very much for listening. Thanks for the support. Good day trading tomorrow.